a number of issues here. The first one is, how much risk are these youth at? Because if these kids are troubled and traumatized, if they have anxiety, if they have ADHD, they're at great risk of wanting to medicate that with the cannabis. Because the cannabis actually can medicate the hyperactivity of the brain or anxiety. It can also cause anxiety in some people, but it can also calm people down. So with youth at risk, because of trauma that I talked about, cannabis can very easily turn into an addictive habit, very easily. That's the first point. The second point is your capacity to deliver a message to youth that they will listen to and respect and heed depends very much on your relationship with them. So in traditional societies, when adults spoke to children or to adolescents, those adolescents listened because there was a sense of authority that came from the adults. Now, that sense of authority wasn't because the adults were bigger and smarter and stronger, which they were, but that's not what their authority came from. Their authority came from the relationship they had with the young people. Young people looked to older people for guidance and for initiation and for teaching. Now, in our society, for reasons I'll talk about perhaps in a while, but kids are no longer looking to adults so much. They look much more to each other. What do people think? What do my peers think of me? Who likes me on Facebook? And they don't so much listen to adults. So the problem isn't just the quality of advice that we give. The problem is the quality of listening that we're receiving. And if we don't have a relationship with those kids where they really see us as elders and trustworthy, it doesn't matter how good the advice we give, they're not going to hear it. And that's so frustrating for parents and for teachers and for adults. The third point as regards marijuana is that when it comes to adolescence, this is a time when the brain is developing rapidly. The human brain development begins in the womb and it continues into adulthood. So adolescence, age 11, 12, 13, 14, this is a time of burgeoning, rapidly firing, branching of brain circuits and development of brain systems and connections. Substances, including cannabis, can interfere with that. So there's sort of contradictory evidence, but there's some concern that a lot of marijuana use on the part of adolescents can interfere with healthy brain development with negative effects later on in adulthood. So, to come back to your question then, what do you tell these kids? Well, I would take a larger view. The first question I would ask them is, what does the cannabis do for you? What do you like about it? Just like I asked you guys. What does the addiction do for you? Ask them, what are they looking for? Because they're looking for something. And find out what they're looking for is missing in their lives. And maybe find ways to help them find the peace of mind, find the excitement, find the vitality, find the human connection that they get from the marijuana without substances, if you can do that. Now, fortunately, and again, I don't see myself as any kind of an expert on this, but just from a glancing awareness, there's so much in traditional cultures that gives you an advantage. Just your capacity to take kids out to the land. They'll get the same high when they go out there as they would from marijuana. So use your ceremonies and use your traditional ways and use the land and use your connection with nature to give these kids what's missing from their lives. If you're advising them to use marijuana, and if they are listening, if you are advising them about marijuana, and if they are, and you have the relationship where they listen to you, you can really tell them to be very cautious and very infrequent, and to be very, very careful. That's all I can tell you. And create a relationship where, if they are going to be using it, let them be free and unafraid to tell you about it so you can discuss it with them. So that there's an ongoing relationship that maybe helps them moderate their use. But that's what I would say in response to your question about cannabis. Is that fair enough?
And thank you very much.